Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this workshop on the Latin American markets. Every once in a while, we are organizing these informative workshops on specific areas of the world with markets of interest to the Greek business community. Today, we're discussing about Latin America. We held the same workshop a couple of days ago in Athens, and now we are here. I would like to thank very much, first of all, our host, the Thessaloniki Chamber of Commerce and Industry, for hosting us today here. Also, the organizations that are supporting our event, the Federation of Industries of Greece and the Exporters Association, as well as our guest speakers, especially His Excellency, the Ambassador of Mexico, Mr. Alejandro Garcia Moreno, for being here with us, as well as the other speakers. In order not to take long on this opening of the event, let me invite to the podium the representatives of the co-organizers to deliver a short address, and then we will proceed with the country presentations. So firstly, I would like to invite to the podium Mr. Vamil Vlachogiannis, the first Vice President of the Thessaloniki Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Good afternoon. Your Excellency, Ambassador of Mexico, Mr. Garcia Moreno, Mr. Petsiavos, distinguished speakers, distinguished guests, thank you very much for being here for this workshop. It is a very interesting operation we have established years ago with the Greek German Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Council of Latin American Greeks Business Council, and to organize such events in order to boost the relationship, economic relations with Latin American countries. And I should also recognize from the point of view of the Chamber of Commerce that Latin America, with its diversity, with its markets, is one of the emerging ones in the world. So in terms of providing products, in terms also of raising consumer society. So do not forget to have an eye on what is happening in the Latin America with different kind of alliances. I should say that I have been years ago representing Greece in Buenos Aires for Mercosur meeting, and of course there is also NAFTA, and there are also some other important alliances in Latin America. But in general, this is a market emerging for years, and it's a market that is for years becoming of vital interest for every European country, including ours. So I wish that you will have a fruitful exchange of views, and you can gain from this opportunity some more detailed information about your efforts to enter into different Latin American markets and to have a successful business with companies from there. Thank you very much for your presence.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for your support all these years. I'd like to invite you, the Secretary General, Mr. George.
Good afternoon, hello, as a guest, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to thank you all for your presence in today's workshop doing business with Latin America. It's a great honor to have been invited and be a part of this very interesting and informative event concerning a group of countries that have a significant geographical distance from Greece. But as we all know, distance is no obstacle when it comes to trading. We can all think of countries that are geographically very far apart, and yet they manage to exchange large volume of trade. Today, I will showcase that Greece and Latin America is one such example. Latin America has always been a destination of great importance for the Survey Exporter Association. 10 years ago, we participated in the same workshop, while our last attendance was in 2022. Moreover, we have participated on individual trade missions like Discover Uruguay last year. In the past years, important steps have been taken to overcome the obstacle and expand the trade between Europe and Latin America, with the most significant being the European Union-Mercosur Trade Agreement. This agreement aimed to facilitate the trade between Europe and the Mercosur states, namely Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay. The effect of these steps can be clearly seen in the Greek-Latin America trade data that highlight the steady increase in total trade between Greece and the countries of Latin America. Specifically, the total value of Greek export of goods have grown from 558 million euros in 2022 to 6,006 million euros in 2023, an increase of 8.5%. The main sectors that export from Greece to Latin America consist of mineral fuels, preparation of vegetable and fruits, photographic goods, and nuclear boilers, with a total exported value of 141, 67, 60, and 41 million euros, respectively. The main partners that Greece export to are Panama, with 173 million euros of exports, Mexico with 163 million euros, and Argentina with 85 million euros. It is very important to note that the export to Argentina rose dramatically high in the last year, growing from 15 million euros in 2022 to 85 million euros in 2023, an increase of 434%. In the same way, the Latin American export of goods to Greece grew by 8.1% from 1 billion euros in 2022 to 1.1 billion euros in 2023. The main sector that exported to Greece consists of animal fodder, fruits and nuts, coffee and tea, with a total value of exported goods equal to 254, 159, and 120 million euros, respectively. The top Latin American countries that export to Greece consist of Brazil, that exports 410 million euros, Argentina with 287 million euros, and Ecuador with 178 million euros. I hope that this presentation into the trade data of Latin America and Greece had made clear that the geographical distance did not impede the development of trade between these countries. However, this does not accurately reflect the full potential scale of the trade that can be achieved. It is essential to motivate more firms to export, boost extroversion, and expand the exporting portfolio. This needs even more active support from the government. Mutual cooperation and the pursuit of new synergies can significantly assist the firm in achieving this goal. I hope that by indicating the opportunities between these markets, we will set the stage for these expansions of trade between Greece and Latin America. I would like to thank you all for your presence and your interest in doing business with Latin America. And I would like to also thank our co-hosts. Seven will keep being part of such event, which will be help Greek export maps, the business and economic environment in promising markets and identifying arising opportunities. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zaglobarinos, and also I'd like to extend our thanks to SEVE for their support all these years in our activities and our missions. Now I would like to invite to the podium the representative of the Federation of Industries of Greece, Mrs. Monica Nagy, who is the business advisor of the Department of International Affairs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patsiavos. As he mentioned, I am the business advisor of the International Affairs Department at the Federation of Industries of Greece. Your Excellency, honourable delegates, ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed colleagues, of course, because this is one of those events that we try to repeat as often as possible in order to help Greek companies to expand abroad. And obviously in troubling times such as this, it's even more important to find opportunities for internationalization for companies. And in particular, at the Federation of Industries of Greece, although we've been operating for more than 100 years, we are still very, very much interested in helping our members increase their presence abroad. And since 2008, we have been a member of an EC-funded initiative, which is a network called Enterprise Europe Network, as you will see from the logo here. And in fact, because as they say in my country back in the UK, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I would like to show you just a very short presentation just to give you an idea of the kind of activities that we do as members of the Enterprise Europe Network. So we are the world's largest support network for innovative SMEs with international ambitions. As you can see from the map, we cover all of Europe, as well as many third countries. And I have highlighted in particular the countries in Latin America where we have an enterprise network presence. So we have Enterprise Europe Network offices in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Colombia. And we've worked very well with all four countries. And in particular, I remember we had an initiative with Brazil where there was a government-funded scheme to invite foreign companies to take part in matchmaking events. And we sent two of our members, member companies, and they had some very, very encouraging results. Basically, we help businesses to innovate and grow. We're active, as I said, worldwide. We have member organizations that include chambers of commerce, regional development organizations, academia, as well as innovation and research organizations. We have teams of experts who provide customized services to business. Obviously, we know the local business environment, so we can help Greek companies, for example, in our case, to look abroad. And because we have contacts who know the local markets abroad, we can put Greek companies in touch with these local contact points from the network, and they can give expert advice. So this is just a little sort of nutshell view of what services provide. And obviously I've highlighted business partnering and internationalization as two very key services that we provide. And just a couple of examples of activities that we have organized in the past. Last year, again with the Greek-German Chamber, we organized a very successful mission to Sweden, particularly for food and beverage producers from Greece. It was a small and very compact mission, very targeted, and we had some good results. On the other scale, we organize B2B events, which are more large scale. And recently we did a B2B event during the Forward Green exhibition and renewable exhibition, which came up with huge results, over 500 meetings. And our upcoming events, we will be doing a B2B during the Thessaloniki International Fair. And then we will follow on with another B2B during the Food and Drinks at Diprop exhibition at the beginning of November. So if you're interested and you would like to take part, please don't hesitate to contact our service. So I would just like to finish by saying my own thanks to my colleagues from the co-organisers who have been excellent in organising a lot of similar events like this, and we continue to work together very closely and very productively. So I'm sure that the tradition will continue. And also thank you very much. It's very encouraging to see that even during, our difficult times, very troubled and very tense economic and geopolitical times, it's very encouraging to see that Greek companies are still interested in dynamically looking abroad and looking for opportunities. So that's really good to see. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you have an excellent event.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Nagy. Also, please extend to the Federation of Industries of Greece our thanks for their long-standing support and cooperation. Before we go on with the country presentations, let me just make a couple of points. First, taking from the point that Mrs. Nagy mentioned, our common business mission to Sweden last year. The reason that we are doing this workshop today here and in Athens a couple of days ago is that almost once a year we try to organize missions to Latin America, and we have planned already a new mission to Latin America this year. In the last part of November, we will go to 4 countries, Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, and Colombia. We already have people from companies who are interested to take part, and the way we organize is that based on the interest of each Greek company participating in the mission, we have a long time of preparation, of research with our partners in each one of these countries to find companies that are interested to discuss with the Greek companies on a mutual interest or on the products that the Greek company would like to introduce, or any other kind of business cooperation. So I invite you, when we will announce it in a couple of weeks from today, if you're interested, to express your interest. And the second point is that I would like to quote a point raised from a Greek company that we had 2 days ago in the Athens workshop on Latin America. The company, Octo company, has been working in Latin America now for many years, maybe 15 years. And the gentleman said that they devoted funds, time, and they were patient in that part of the world. They studied the countries. They tried to understand the laws, the regulatory framework in each country they wanted to be active. They looked for the advisors and the consultancy of experts in these countries. They noticed that through the last 15 years or so, the societies in these countries have changed, have been improved. Those countries are eager to introduce new technologies. Local people, the Latin American people, they like European people, and especially Greeks, for traditional reasons. And now they're successful and they're grateful to those countries, being patient and having a goal to be successful in these countries. So that was the experience that they shared with us, which I thought was interesting. Now, we move to the country presentations, and we will start with Mexico, because we have, again, the honor to have with us here today in Thessaloniki, His Excellency the Ambassador of Mexico, Mr. Alejandro Garcia Moreno. Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to tell you that for me it's an honor to be here in Thessaloniki today. This is my third visit to Thessaloniki in the last year. I had been post to Greece for the last 15 months, and I would like to recognize your presence and the invitation that you gave me to visit you a year ago, exactly a year ago in May of last year. And I would also like to thank Kyrianis Patsiavos for your invitation to the workshop, both in Athens and now in Thessaloniki. It is for me, and I will tell you, very good news to know that you're already planning a visit to Mexico. And please, I can tell you that you already have the full support of the embassy and of our ministry to see that this mission is going to be a success mission for all of the participants. And as I can tell, all of you are going, so that's very good news. And before getting directly into the presentation, there are some points that I want to mention that I think that are very, very important to bear in mind. First of all, when you think of Mexico and doing business with Mexico, you have to think of the size of the market. That's one of the key aspects that Mexico has to offer, the size of its market. Second, the Mexican economy has been completely transformed. This has been actually, I would say, a revolution in our economy since the 1980s. Mexican economy was completely focused on domestic growth. So it was completely devoted to the internal market. And by the 1980s, as a result of this, more than 80% of our exports were oil and oil products. So Mexico decided to change all of this and to open itself to international trade. So we joined the General Agreement of Tariffs and Trade in 1986. And just to give you an idea, the average import tax that was close to 100% went down to 20%. So that was a very big step. The first result was that all the Mexican companies that were not able to compete internationally were completely out of the market. You have to be innovative, you have to be efficient in order to be from there on to stay in the Mexican market. And then, of course, we were open to investment. And something I want to tell you, we're going to have elections in 2 weeks, in less than 2 weeks, in June 2nd. In the Mexican political system, we have presidential terms of 6 years and no re-election. There's no way you can have any re-election. And in the last years, since the 1980s, we have had 3 different political parties with positions to the left, to the right, to the center. The rhetoric is theirs, but the political policies, I mean, the economic policies have not changed. In all these cases, that has given Mexico economic stability and predictability. Now, with the network that Mexico has with free trade agreements with many, many countries, you can see that this policy has in a way been successful and that there are going to be no changes. So that's a very important factor to take into consideration. We will see in the presentation about our free trade agreements that we have now, which will give you an idea of how much Mexico is open now and the advantages that we're taking about. Another aspect very close to these days is what is called nearshoring. The global economy is always dynamic. There are always going to be changes. And political policies and economic policies do not always go hand by hand. And with this, for example, in the last very recent years, between the tariffs that the United States is putting on China's products, the situation in the war in Ukraine, and other factors internationally, there have been more focus in Mexico. And what this means is more moving of companies that were in other countries into Mexico to be closer to the US market. And one of the results also is that Mexico is increasing its participation in the global value chains. So Mexico is very well embedded in the international system of manufacturing. Other important aspects, if you look at the bonds market, Mexico is the largest bond market in Latin America with close to a value of $50 billion. So there's trust in Mexico. Inflation is something that is not a problem as it was 30, 40 years ago. Last year it was 4%. We're expecting it to be even a little bit lower this coming year and next year to 3 points. Growth last year was a little bit over 3%. And now to the presentation. Very good. First of all, an introduction to Mexico. As you can see, by geographic area, we're the 13th largest country in the world. The third one in Latin America after Brazil and Argentina, with close to 2 million square kilometers. By population, Mexico is number 10, almost 130 million. That's when I talk about the size of the market, this is what we have. And second in Latin America after Brazil. That is over 200 million. GDP. Mexico is among the 15 largest economies in the world. This is the place that the Mexican economy now has. And by GDP per capita, as you can see, Mexico is a middle-income country, and our place in the world is 64. So you can see that by size of the economy, by size of population and land, we're among the 15 largest countries. But yet, by GDP per capita, there's a lot of work to do. But we're in the right track. Look at Greece. Greece is 44, and Cyprus doing very well with 27 position in the world. And this is the first thing I wanted to stress to you. Look to the commercial free trade agreements that we have already with 50 countries, the way we have been positioned in America with the United States and Canada, with Central America, and of course, Colombia, Peru, Chile, and Uruguay. Very well positioned in the Asian Pacific with our partnership with the Trans-Pacific countries, and we do have a bilateral free trade agreement with Japan. So we have free trade agreements with the United States, with Europe, and with Japan. Mexico decided to open, as I said, its economy and to turn into the US market as the main focus of its exports. Here we have the date when the free trade agreement with the US and Canada was signed in 1992. There was also another agreement in Latin America with Chile, and this is what started the process. Both in the case of Chile, the United States and Canada, they had been enforced since 1994. So since the last 30 years, you can see how this has been going forward and even deepening the relationship with our partners. This is something very new. It has to do a little bit with what I was telling you about nearshoring. And look at 2023. Mexico now is the first trade partner of the United States. We pass China and we pass Canada. And it's a trend that now that China has diversified its markets by itself in all the world, is going to stay like this in the coming or in the near future. Here I just want to point you to this index of global economic complexity. What this means is how diverse is an economy, a trading economy. And number one, by diversity, is Japan, and Mexico is now in place 25. So we move from being practically the exporter of one product to diversify our economy and get into this place. This will be data for 2020. It's amazing to see the size of the trade that China does. It's practically twice the size of the American volume. Very close to the US is Germany. And Mexico is now there. No? Mexico has managed to become one of the top trading nations in the world. And as I mentioned, foreign investment, trust in Mexico, trust in doing business in Mexico. Mexico is in position number 10 in the world. Here I want to mention just some samples. So you can see now that Mexico is the 7th largest car producer in the world, the 7th largest, and the 4th largest exporter globally. And this is why? Because the free trade agreements we have with you, with Europe, with the United States, and which brought to Mexico investment into the auto industry. It was started with the investment from Germany in the 1960s with Volkswagen. And after the free trade agreement, now you have other European brands like Volvo, and of course, Japan, and in the case of Korea, two of the largest companies. But one of the sectors that I also want to mention is construction, which is one of the strongest aspects of the Mexican economy. And you have Cemex as one of the most important cement producers and exporters in the world and in Latin America. And you can see all the different areas: medical devices, pharmaceutical, processed food, telecommunication, and so on. And that will give you a good idea of this diversity. Aerospace. I mention aerospace because what Mexico has now is engineers. Mexico is producing more engineers in relative relation to the United States than the United States itself. And this is very important because with the experience and the size of the auto industry, Mexico is moving to a new area, and that's aerospace. So we're now producing engines and airplane parts for Boeing, for Bombardier, and Mexico is now in the market in the aerospace industry. Not, of course, like Brazil, which has the largest aerospace company in Latin America. And here I want you to focus on our exports. Look how petroleum passed from over 80% to just 7% of our exports. And the blue area to the left, that's manufactures. So this shows you the transformation of Mexico from exporting of raw products to exporting manufactured products, and how diverse it is now. Look, the most important is computers, and cars, and that will give you an idea of the 15% of our exports where they concentrate. By destination, this is geography. This is geoeconomy. We're neighbors of the United States. And of course, most of our exports go to the United States. So we have access to the American market, and that's where we are focused in export as destination. And look at Europe, how small it is. Even if we have the free trade agreement, the potential is there. We have not been able to achieve that potential that we should have. But let's go to Europe. Where does our exports go? Mainly to Germany, Spain, and the United Kingdom. One of the very small squares that you will find is Greece. So Greece is not yet in our statistics as it should be. And now talking about Greece, you will think that Mexico's most important products in Greece will be tequila, Corona, and you will say, yes, of course. But that's not the case. Beer and Corona, Corona and tequila will be less than 10% of our exports to Greece. Scrap aluminum is the big product that Mexico exports to Greece. And computers, video games, and so on. But again, it's a diversified export that we have with Greece. And what do we import? In general terms, still an important part of manufacturers, our imports from the United States and China. China is so big and is so present everywhere that is our second largest partner. In the case of Europe, Germany, and Italy is now our second most important country where we are importing. And from Greece, I will expect olive oil, and we are importing utility meters, protection equipment, building stone for our construction industry. And this gives you an idea of where we are in our current trade with Greece. Well, of course, most of our trade is through shipping. And let's focus a little bit on the European Union. We were the first country in Latin America to sign a free trade agreement with the European Union. It has been enforced almost for 25 years now. And practically, we started this treaty at the same time that the euro was introduced in Europe. Well, it's not just trade, it's also political dialogue, cooperation, technical cooperation between Europe and Mexico. And here focus in the last line. Since we have this agreement, our trade with the European Union has more than tripled. And a little bit about the potential. And I will send to you the information about how to get into this application so you can get to see product by product. And here you can see the top 25 products. And this is the potential for Greece in Mexico. So you can get to see, I don't know if you can read a little bit, but you can get to see how diversified it is. To give you an idea, we want to see the potential. I have here the case of cheese. Exports from Greece to Mexico now, 0. Potential, 1.5 million. So there are these windows of opportunities that we have to go and find out and take advantage. We have some projects in this government that is about to finish. I'm not going to mention all of them, but I will refer to the interoceanic corridor in the Isthmus, and I will tell you why. What this corridor has in mind is to complement the Panama Canal. And I'm telling you this because Greece is the country that has the second largest commercial fleet in the world. The maritime power of Greece is so important that for your logistics, for your shipping companies, I think this is an important information to share for you. Last year, you might have read that it was not a good year for Panama. It was dry. They didn't get enough rain as other years. And for the first time, Panama had to lower the traffic through the canal. And that means that the cost of moving your goods increased. The time for crossing the channel was larger. And with this trip, Mexico is going to complement, especially is going to be of the benefit of the United States to move products between east and west. But of course, it's a dry corridor, it's through train, but it's already there and it has been, it's going to be working since this year. And with that, Evaristo Polin, and hope to keep working very closely with all of you. And we are waiting for you in Mexico this coming November. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for the presentation of Mexico, one of the major economies in Latin America. Just to inform you that, as we know, in Latin America continent, Greece has only 2 commercial offices in Brazil and in Argentina. We have been trying to pass the message to the Greek Ministry of Foreign Affairs that at least a third commercial office is to be established. And we think that in Mexico City, this possible commercial office will greatly assist the Greek enterprises to be successful to the big Mexican market. Now we move to the next country presentation, Argentina, and we will attend to a video that His Excellency, the Ambassador of Argentina in Greece, Mr. Luis Alfredo Azpiazu, has sent us because he could not make it to be with us here today. So let's hear to his message. Αν μπορούμε να δούμε το βίντεο του πρέσβη της Αργεντινής.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to stand before you today to discuss the promising future trade opportunities between Argentina and Greece. Let me thank the Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Greek Latin American Business Council for this opportunity. In a period of global geopolitical, economic, and climate instability, where the term globalization appears more and more in our everyday vocabulary, multifaceted diplomatic cooperation among states is deemed more necessary than ever. With full knowledge of the economic situation in Greece, we have set as our diplomatic mission to create suitable conditions that will allow the fruitful cultivation of mutually beneficial partnerships. Before delving into this matter, I strongly advocate for directing our attentions towards the remarkable economic strides made by the Argentine exports, especially within the energy sector. The emergence of the Vaca Muerta region stands as a monumental milestone in our nation's economic landscape since it secured our energy independence. Moreover, Argentina's economic momentum has reverberated across pivotal industries like soy, iron ore, and meat production. These achievements owe much to the broad reforms that nowadays are taking place in my country, such as the dramatic reduction of the bureaucracy and state structures, free market reforms, and policies to boost private enterprise and to attract foreign investments, among others. A few weeks ago, The Economist stated that our economy stands as the second fastest improving business environment globally, only behind Greece. Seizing upon this new economic dawn in Argentina, we are committed to fostering even deeper ties with Greece. This mission extends beyond conventional boundaries, encompassing diverse sectors such as food, energy, technology, and construction. Our histories are intertwined by decades of exchange. In recent times, our bilateral trade has seen remarkable growth, driven by the enduring spirit of partnership, thus laying the groundwork for even deeper collaborations in the years ahead. This is underscored by the fact that Argentina and Greece have tripled their bilateral trade over the past 2 decades. In 2023, our trade relationship reached new heights, propelled by a diverse array of goods flowing between our nations. From the fertile plains of Argentina came agricultural products like soya, nuts, meat, wine, renowned by their quality. Meanwhile, Greece reciprocated with goods of its own, including petroleum products, tubes, and foods. This exchange not only bolstered our economies, but also fostered mutual understanding and appreciation. More specifically, bilateral trade exceeds 400 million euros marking a 34% increase, while Argentinian exports rose by over 10%, reaching 311 million euros. In 2023, as an embassy, we decided to further focus on enhancing economic relations between the two countries. Consequently, our economic commercial department examined more than 3,000 products and service markets to identify profitable and multiply beneficial economic partnerships for business from both nations. These opportunities extend beyond the agriculture sector and encompass industries such as chemicals, energy, metals, pesticides, timber, tobacco, cosmetics, and food. The research findings also revealed that Greece consistently procures at higher costs from its trade partners compared to its counterparts, while Argentinian entrepreneurs sell at lower values than what Greek enterprises would be willing to pay. Encouragingly, with our contribution, the private sector took initiatives in certain sectors, primarily in food, and Argentinian businesses managed to increase their participation in Greece's overall transactions with the rest of the world in these sectors. Furthermore, commercial opportunities may arise in the IT sector through joint ventures with Argentinian technology companies, which have demonstrated having levels of flexibility and readiness compared to the rest of the world. Today, Argentina and Greece have laid strong foundations for cooperation at all levels, but the progress that entails greater prosperity for our peoples internationally is never sufficient. Argentina and Greece, two of the most peaceful states in the world, demonstrate that mutual respect and mutual appreciation can be particularly significant even in periods of international political turmoil. We express our gratitude for the progress of our collaboration thus far, commit to further strengthen our relationship, and hope that today's meeting and your trip to our countries will mark a new significant step in our endeavor. Thank you very much. Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor.
We thank the Ambassador of Argentina for his message. Let me just add 2 points. First, that in Argentina, there is a Greek Argentina Chamber of Commerce established many years ago from Greek people who live for years in Argentina, and they have businesses there, and they have good access to the market, and they assist us anytime we go to Argentina, connecting our participants with local companies. And through these missions, just to mention that a few years ago, one company that participated in our mission took a contract with the state telephone company of Argentina. And a couple of years ago, in the latest mission in Argentina, another Greek company managed to conclude an agreement with a local importer to export to Argentina ouzo and tsipuro, which was a good deal. And we hope that in the future missions will have similar successful cases. Now, it is the country presentation for Brazil, and we will connect with the Embassy of Brazil in Athens and Mr. Alessandro Segabinazzi, who's the head of the trade section of the Brazilian Embassy, to deliver his presentation.
Okay. Good afternoon to all. Thank you so much for the invitation for participating in this workshop doing business with Latin America. For me, it's a great pleasure to be here substituting the Ambassador Paulo França. He had presented the same presentation I had last Monday in Athens. And for me, it will be a great responsibility, but at the same time, it will be a pleasure and an honor to be with you. I want to thank the German Chamber of Commerce Industry in the person of Yannis Patsiavos, the Greek Latin American Business Council, the organizers, and the Thessaloniki Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Federation of Industries, the Greek Sport Association, the Help Desk of the European Commission. I'd like to extend the compliments to my colleagues in Latin America, the ambassadors of Mexico, Argentina, the Council of Uruguay, and the trade commissioners of Ecuador and Costa Rica. And of course, the member of Chambers of Commerce in Thessaloniki and the businessmen that are presented. Unfortunately, I could not go in person and to be with you, but I hope to be there in September when we have this important trade fair in Thessaloniki. And I'm eager to meet you personally. So I will start the presentation of Brazil. I believe that those who were in Athens could see the Ambassador Paulo França presenting. I will do the same, but I aggregate some things that I believe that's important as well. I'm going to share my screen for you. I don't know if you can see that. That's okay. I'm sharing the screen. Do you see? Okay. So doing business in Brazil. This is our presentation from the embassy. We would like to stress that Brazil is the 10th largest economy globally, and we have IMF predicts that it will be the 8th largest by the end of this year. Brazil offers a wealth of opportunities for foreign investors seeking to expand their business operations and tap into the region's immense growth potential. I'd like to say that the content is here. It's about economic overview, the relations with Greece, investment incentives, the program to accelerate our GDP, tax reform, and the strategic sectors in Brazil, and of course the context with the SECOM. And despite the challenge posed the COVID-19 pandemic, Brazil's economy has demonstrated remarkable resilience, with a GDP of approximately $2.2 trillion. The country's vast domestic market, comprising over 210 million consumers, coupled with a diversified industrial base and robust agricultural sector, positions Brazil as an attractive destination for foreign direct investments. I could add to that we have a price stability for more than 30 years, a healthy public debt, and a strong and stable currency. And so why Brazil? It's financial tax incentives, acceptance of foreign direct investment, size when expanding markets, positive geographic features, access to global markets, wealth, natural resource, and infrastructure for business and opportunities. So our population is 2,010 million, and our foreign direct investment reaches $60.2 billion last year. As we are part of the commercial bloc Mercosur, and we have this economic integration with Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay since 1990. And for Mercosur, this is a platform that we try to boost trade and investment. We have a strong engagement in organizations like the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, the BRICS economies, and we have this economic position is we have signed agreement with the European Union in 2021, and we hope that it gets into force not in a short future. So talking about Brazil and Greece. Brazil and Greece have a long-standing diplomatic tie that dates back to the early 20th century, and with a significant Greek Brazilian population of around 30,000 people. And this strengthens our cultural and economic connections. In terms of bilateral trade trade between Brazil and Greece. In 2003, the trade flow of goods between the two countries reached an unprecedented $497.8 million. And we expanded 22.6% compared to 2022. That's the very good news because we have then expanding trade between our countries. And Brazilian exports to Greece are concentrated in few key products, including oil and the derivatives, 27%, coffee, 25%, soybeans, tobacco, and these reach almost 80% of total exports that Brazil do to Greece. In contrast, Greece exports to Brazil are more diversified, comprising fuels, pharmaceuticals, and consumer goods. And while Brazil maintains a trade surplus in goods, the service trade balance significantly favors Greece due to the prominent role of Greek ship owners and the large Greek fleets. From 2017 to 2021, Brazil's service export to Greece ranged from 5.3 to 7 million, while imports from Greece ranged over 694 to 913 million per year. So while the goods balance favors Brazil, Greece are favored in the service, and so the trade service between Brazil and Greece favors much more the Greece because of this maritime inclination of the country. So invest in Brazil. Why to invest in Brazil? There are although not only because of this huge market we have, but because lately we have implemented several reforms to create a more favorable investment climate for foreign investors. So we had in the past the reform of the pension system. Now we have the tax reform. That is one of the key aspects that investors criticize Brazil, but I'd like to highlight that in 2023, a comprehensive tax reform was approved in Brazil. And so this reform will streamline tax procedures, reduce bureaucracy, and establish a more transparent and predictable fiscal environment for investors. There will be unification of federal taxes into a single value-added tax system, and this will foster tax neutrality and reduce the cumulative effects of the previous system where we have several taxes inciding through the goods. So this process will start the transition period from 2026 to 2023, where the tax reform should be in full force. So these are the key aspects of the reform. And the most important thing that we should mention to investors and people trying to do is the potential of growth that Brazil has, because we have this program to accelerate the GDP, and it's the partnership between the government and the private sector. It was launched with the name of New PAC, that's the New GDP Accelerating Program. And this is is focused in critical infrastructure projects across various sectors, including transportation, energy, and urban mobility. The ambitious initiatives aim to attract investments, both domestic and foreign, through public-private partnerships and concessions. For you to have an idea, the government, through public procurement offers, in the period in 4 years, will have a budget of $330 billion for this new program aimed to modernize all the infrastructure in Brazil in several key sectors: energy and renewables, infrastructure and transportation, agriculture and business, technology and innovation, real estate and hospitality. I'd like to stress that for these fields, I believe there is a possibility of synergy between Brazil and Greece, and because of the energy metrics that was mostly renewable. And in Brazil, we have a very we have a huge potential that's already explored in hydropower. But we are making several projects in power in the northeast and the central regions regarding to solar power projects, and as well in the cutting-edge innovations in green hydrogen plants that has been installed in this region. And it's something that's very important for the future, that to say that this source of energy will become one of the most important. So in conclusion, with the robust economy and ongoing reforms and a vast array of investment opportunities across strategic sectors, Brazil stands as an attractive destination for international business seeking to expand their global presence, including the Greek investors. So I would like to thank you all. I say that Brazil waits for you. And here I present the Ambassador Paulo França, this very vibrant and friendly figure. And we hope and invite you to come to the Embassy of Brazil in Athens as you can. Oh, thank you so much for the presentation. I hope to see you all shortly. Harika getting ignorinha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cicabinacci. Please convey to the ambassador our warm thanks for his participation the other day and his support. We know the Embassy of Brazil in Athens is always close to our activities. Brazil is a big market, and every time we organize a mission to Latin America, we go always to Brazil. Now, we'll make a small change in the program. I will invite to the podium Mr. Max Coelho, the Trade Commissioner of Ecuador, to make his presentation, and right after it will be Uruguay.
Καλησπέρα.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to say good afternoon to all of you, especially to Mr. Representative Ambassador of Mexico here, Mr. Alejandro Garcia, as well as the organization of the Chambers of Commerce and all you present here. Thank you for organizing this very interesting event. My name is Max Coelho. I'm a commercial attaché of the government of Ecuador. I'm based in Italy, but also I'm in charge of the Greek market. We do promote in our office the Ecuadorian exportations, also tourism, and also the attraction to investments into our country. These are the three sectors where we work with. I would like to explain something. I know that it's always interesting taking a look into big markets, but sometimes it's also interesting taking a look at similar sized markets. Ecuador is a small market, let's say, compared with our neighbor countries. We have 17 million of persons, but our minimum wage is one of the highest in Latin America, and also the prices in the market for everything, even supermarket and also different kind of goods, is even sometimes higher than here in Europe. So it's a very interesting and small or very interesting market for all kinds of exportations, even food or also technology and also services. Ecuador is a small country, as I said, if we compare with Colombia, Brazil, of course, Argentina, Mexico, Peru. But it's relatively small because we have almost the size of Italy. We love to say that Ecuador has everything of South America in just one small place, because we do have the Amazon, we do have the Andes with the volcanoes, we do have the coast with the Pacific Ocean, but we have something extra, that is the Galapagos Islands. So we have a very, very diverse variety of regions, and that help us also to have a very different kind of products. And we do have production during the whole year. We basically live in an eternal spring. Small facts, the capital is Quito. The major cities are Guayaquil and Cuenca and Quito. Of course, we do have the US dollar as our currency. That makes everything easier when you try to commerce with our country. let's talk about import or export, but also when doing investments in a country and also for the tourism. And the population is more than 17 million persons. And certainly our government is a democratic, we're a republica. And for traveling from Greece to Ecuador, you, the Europeans, don't need a visa. Just with the passport, you can travel over there. Our main exports are oil, shrimps, bananas, roses, also cocoa, for example, tuna, several different products. And for some of them, we are one of the major exporters in the world, as for example, for bananas and shrimps. The distance from Ecuador to Greece is by Madrid or by Amsterdam. You can get a flight to go to any of those cities. You will find direct flights from Madrid or from Amsterdam to Quito or Guayaquil, and it's around 20 hours. Ecuador has it all. We do have oil, we do have agriculture, mining, aquaculture, also a strategic location in the heart of Latin America. 90% of the energy we produce is renewable. We do have these 4 regions with the every microclimate location over there. Polarized economy, hardworking people, and not only hardworking, but also hard skilled, and excellent infrastructure. I mean, roads, ports, airports that facilitates the exportation or also importation, distribution of any kind of goods. You can produce everywhere, even in the Amazon, and you will reach easily any port or airport in our country. I will let you see this short video about what we have over there. And it's possible to add the audio.
In the most demanding markets, in the coffee that you share every morning, in the chocolate that you enjoy, in the fishing, or in the most beautiful roses, in endless premium products. Every country that receives a container exported from Ecuador receives the products of a prosperous land of vast seas. It receives quality, good practices, and traceability. It receives honest work, our main source of well-being. At Pro Ecuador, we are committed in bringing more of Ecuador to the world. If you're looking for organic and sustainable food, Ecuador has it. If you're looking for art, fashion, and crafts, Ecuador has it. If you're looking for an ecosystem that's safe for your investments, Ecuador has it. If you're looking for the best, Ecuador definitely has it.
And just talking about the last phrase of the video, we are based in quality-focused products and services. We will not be due to our dollarized economy, probably the cheapest products, but we are focused into quality. As tourism, every one of you probably have heard about the Galapagos Islands. But certainly we are not only the Galapagos Islands, we have also the Amazon, the Andes coast, but we have a great astronomy that certainly we will need to exploit more, as other countries have done an excellent job. We need to start working on that also, but also handcrafts, also culture, the colonial historical center in Quito, for example, is the biggest one and the best well-maintained in South America. We have incredible beaches in continent, but also in the Galapagos Islands. Certainly the numbers right now are not that big from Greece, but we are working into having more of you visiting us. Because, you know, everything is connected. If we want to export more products from Ecuador to Greece, and also to bring more products from Greece to Ecuador, it's important to increase the number of tourism. You in Greece has you have a lot of experience into the tourism. You are one of the main destinations here in Europe, and certainly we want to increase the numbers both ways. Ecuador is strategically positioned for international trade. We are just in the north of South America, but we are close to several important markets. We have direct access to the Pacific Ocean, and we are only 700 miles from the Canal of Panama. We are in the middle of the world and the center of the market, of course. And we do have several trade agreements with different world countries in the world and different regions. Our potential customers that are receiving products from Ecuador with zero tariffs are more than 7,500 million. We have been working on different trade agreements. Now the 84% of all our exportations are arriving to the whole world with zero tariffs. The Ecuador export coverage with the new trade agreements, the last ones are with China, Costa Rica, and South Korea. Actually, we have implemented one with the European Union 2018 and with the EFTA market 2020. But the last ones are improving and are getting us to grow 23%, more than $6,000 million. And we are working with new markets also, South Korea, Canada, the Dominican Republic, and also the United Arab Emirates. In relation to the exports, foreign trade, exports and imports, this is one of the main support for our GDP. If we see the graphics, for example, during the last 20 years, the exportations, I mean, the foreign trade, exports and imports, are supporting the 60% of all of the Ecuadorian GDP. And if we see the products, for example, food, are representing the 47% of all the our GDP. So it's really, really important. We have been working also in having more exportation of more added value products, services, but we are still strongly connected with food. We have food, fuels, manufactured goods, of course, agricultural raw materials also are very important ingredients for the industry worldwide. Our main products, our main exportations, bananas, shrimps, that I say we are the biggest exporters in the world for those products, and you probably know them really well. Also cocoa, also tuna, roses. The cocoa from Ecuador is well known because of its quality, not only the cocoa, but also the bananas and the shrimps. But for example, into the cocoa industry, the chocolate industry, the biggest and more well-known producers in the whole world are using the cocoa beans. But lately, during the last 10 years, 15 years, let's say, we have tried and we have improved it into also exporting more added value products. For example, not exporting only cocoa, but chocolate. You will find Pacari chocolate on your tables. I invite you to taste it. This brand is the more well-known brand from Ecuador and one of the principal, the main ones in the world. This is organic, vegan, free from everything, excellent quality. When you are having this one, it's like you're having a vitamin. But not only this brand, also in relation to handcrafts, you will see the picture of the called Panama hat that is originally from Ecuador, not from Panama, and it's very popular here in Greece. But also metal mechanic industry. We are the principal providers, suppliers of stoves for Chile, for example. Originally, I thought it was from China, but a couple of years ago, I discovered that Ecuador is the main supplier for that kind of products, I mean, technology, added value products to Chile, and also we're exporting them to different countries. When we see the main exportations from Ecuador to the world, our main customer is China. The second one is the United States, with a big difference for the third one is Russia. We have a strong connection with Europe, of course, but also with the neighbors. They are natural markets, of course, as Colombia, as Peru, Chile, and Argentina. Now talking from Ecuador to Greece, we can see that during the last years, we have been growing the numbers. We have been exporting more and more goods. Now, last year, we have exported $148 million, mainly bananas. That is the first product. The second one is our shrimps. I am sure that you know the Ecuadorian shrimps, a very famous product here too. Organic banana, tuna, baby banana. But also, we are exporting metals, cables of optical fibers. That is a production that is getting bigger every year. In the other side, also, we can see that the number of exportations from Greece to Ecuador has been growing. Certainly, the numbers are still lower, smaller than we would like to be, but there is a potential to keep growing. We see, for example, that you're exporting canned peaches, but also you're exporting fertilizers, minerals, marble. I would love to have in Ecuador olive oil. In Greece, you have an excellent olive oil and also an excellent wine. There are products that should be there, but not only those, also services and also products, for example, for the energy. There are several fields where you can take a look in our country. After that, in relation to investments, why investing in Ecuador is a good business? We have the dollarized economy and low inflation. The inflation year per year in Ecuador is one of the lowest in Latin America. Political, economic, and fiscal stability, that's always important to do investment over there. We are export-oriented economy. For example, we have received lately from different countries investments into the production area. For example, they want, I know, they are experts producing avocados in Chile. They go to Ecuador to produce avocados over there and also to export them to different countries. Blueberries, for example, there's one importer of bananas in Italy that want to invest over there to have their own distribution or logistic over there. But this is one of the sector. We do have several sectors. I will show you that later. Natural resources, water, agriculture, mining, oil and gas. Certainly the tax incentives that we are offering are a nice hook in order to promote investments in your country. Highly qualified human resources, geographic and logistic advantage, and developed infrastructure. And the policy to attract new investments, we want more foreign investments, certainly. So the governments, and also this one, has working into developing policies to attract investment. For example, Economic Efficiency Employment Creation Law 2023, when there's a company that is investing in your country, they will have a reduction of the taxes according to the number of persons they are hiring. For example, Energy Competitiveness Law 2024, Tourism Law 2024 also, free zones, renewable energy, tourism activities. Those are new areas where we are trying to have more investments from abroad. For example, into the tourism area, where you are certainly experts, we are looking for financing and tourism sector with lower than market interest rates and flexible terms, tax deferral payments plans with the ERS, and the reduction of 5% of income tax of payments abroad related to artistic and cultural events, but reduction also on national holidays. Those are kind of incentives when you are going to invest into the tourism area. And we have the investment protection agreement also. It's a mixed contract between a private investor and the Ecuadorian government. This contract is made for periods up to 15 years that ensure that the investment you are doing in your country will have the same rules, will be effective for certain rules during 15 years at least, and this can be renewable certainly. Minimum investment of $1 million and at least 100,000 after applying to the EPAS. That's something important to tackle. Instruments generating legal certainty and general tax stability for investment about $100 million. That is something additional for bigger investments, of course. Now, we'll have different zones, also free zones, where the peoples that are established over there will pay less taxes. And no minimum investment amount required, no minimum size of land required to establish in a free zone, a minimum term of 30 years renewable for the same time, and free zones we must be multi-company, activities, industrial production of goods, industrial services, trade and logistics, goods leaving from the free zones and the rest of the world also will be exempt from custom duties. Mainly, the new tax benefits for the free zones, the income tax exemption up to 5 years, an additional 10 points reduction to the income tax, 15% finally. This is a very, very, very good deal for the companies that are investing into the free zones, exemption from ad valorem foreign and taxes to the import of supplies, capital goods, and raw materials destined for these free zones, refund of the VAT, value-added tax on domestic purchases, and exemption on currency of loan tax, income tax exemption of dividends paid by the operators and users of their shareholders. Some requirements to access the benefit and temporary tax residency. For example, the companies will need, or the person will need also a minimum investment in real estate or productive activity of 150,000 euros upon entry to Ecuador, and maintain them for at least 5 years after entering the country. Verifiable income of $2,500 US per month, no tax in Ecuador, contribute to the social security system, and in specific cases, individuals residing in Ecuador for more than 120 days during a fiscal year of 12 consecutive months in 2 different fiscal years may be eligible for temporary tax residence. The best areas for investments, we are certainly in the agro industry, but also we are looking investment into the food security, logistics services, infrastructure, oil and gas, certainly, mining, of course, and of course, tourism. In this last sector, we have the potential growing of 10 times the number of tourists we are receiving currently. So there's a big potential over there to receive the foreign investment. Right now, we have 39 projects available for receiving investment projects for more than $50 billion. This presentation will be sent to you, and you will be able to see all the investment portfolio into that code that is on the presentation, and you will receive it. For example, one of the main areas where we are looking for investment are the roads, and we have $2.18 billion of US dollars of different projects where we are searching for investment into that area. In relation to the hydrocarbon sector, also you will find, for example, there in red, blocks are already allocated to public and private companies, but also you will find in purple the available blocks allocated where we are searching for new investments. Also, for the mining sector, so this is one of the sectors that have grown a lot. The main areas for doing this investment are into the Andean region, but also in the north, and mainly for gold, silver, and copper. The President Noboa highlights that it's crucial role that mining plays in the Ecuadorian economy and promotes a sustainable mining industry. The activity has been consolidated as the country's fourth export product. So first of all, it was for us the oil. After that, it was the bananas, the shrimps, and now the mining is taking the fourth position. Here you will find a video also that will explain a little bit about our investment area. If you can put volume, please.
Es muy probable que tengas un poco de Ecuador a tu alrededor. Estamos en la comida que disfrutas, en el café que te despierta, en las flores que regalas, incluso estamos en la ropa y accesorios que utilizas. Verás, con el paso de cada día hay más de Ecuador en el mundo y esto nos llena de orgullo. Sin embargo, también queremos más mundo en el Ecuador y estamos listos para recibirlo. Iniciamos un nuevo camino con una planificada estrategia nacional de competitividad que incluirá la implementación de iniciativas clúster para un trabajo colaborativo de todos los sectores productivos. La transparencia regirá cada iniciativa. Entregaremos la seguridad jurídica que todo inversionista busca. Vamos a ser un país más rentable para producir, con procesos claros y transparentes. Estamos en el camino correcto. Abrimos nuestras puertas para ser el Ecuador del encuentro, el comercio y las inversiones.
So, to finalize, why Ecuador? We do have quality in products, working as skilled people, strategic location. We can be certainly a hub when you want to introduce your products into Latin America. due to our trade agreements with different countries or strategical location, from Ecuador, the products can arrive easily to our neighbor countries, certainly. And we are already there exporting products. We do have experience in that sector. Also, the incentives that we are offering to the companies for doing business inter-country, for investing inter-country, the fact that we are a dollarized economy that makes everything easier. And we are all of South America in one country. I invite you also, please, to taste, or we call chifles, plantain chips. It's a very interesting product. And hopefully, as well as the chocolate and as well as the plantain chips, you will find them sooner than later here in Greece. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coelho, for coming from Milan to this presentation. Also, I'd like to thank you for assisting the Greek company sector to find some contacts in Ecuador. We have promised to Mr. Coelho that sometime in the future we will visit with a mission in Ecuador, and we will keep our promise. Now we'll move to Uruguay, and I will invite to the podium the consul of Uruguay to Thessaloniki, Mr. Jesus Cardanzis.
I would like to thank all of you, and especially the director of the Greek Latin Consul Committee of in Greece, Mr. Patsiavos. Of course, His Excellency, the Ambassador of Mexico, Mr. Moreno, and all the excellencies and the guests. I would like to inform you that our presentation and special data about the country will forward to all of you personally according to the list of guests that we have in the front desk, so to have it in your personal email and computer. And because of the time, I would like to have only, as we discussed, 10 minutes maximum to introduce you about the country, and all the rest we can discuss in some short questions. So Uruguay is the best for us destination for investments in Latin America, and one of the most reliable and attractive destinations worldwide. It's a favorable business climate, social and political stability, investment grade rating, and sustained GDP growth during the past 17 years. Investors highlight Uruguay's world-class infrastructure and excellent quality of life, as well as its attractive tax system for export operations, such as the free zones law that we have, the investment promotion law, and the free ports and airport regime. Foreign investments receive equal treatment to domestic ones. There are no restrictions on capital or profit repatriation, and companies can operate in domestic or foreign currency. Well-known international rankings show its strong political, legal, and social stability, as well as the strength of its democracy. According to the Economist Intelligence of 2022, Uruguay is in the first place of democracy. According to Transparency International of 2023, it's in the first place of the lowest corruption. According to Freedom House of 2022, it's the first place of civil liberties countries. And according to the World Justice Project, which is one of the most famous magazines about justice, it's in the first place of rule of law. Also, according to the World Economic Forum of 2022, it's in the first place of Social Mobility Index, and according to the United Nations of 2023 is the first country of e-government development. This is why also Uruguay's plan, Ceibal plan, is an initiative launched by the Uruguayan government since 2007, based on one laptop per child program of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So with the collaboration of the MIT in the whole Uruguayan schools, all the children holds one laptop, and all the main schedule of the school is working with, let's say, with the digital way. Also, we become the first country in the world to provide absolutely free laptop and computers to every one of the pupils and teachers in the primary and secondary governmental schools. The computers programmed in English have helped children and teenagers to improve their English skills. In Uruguay, we have the highest literacy rate in Latin America, 98%, free public education from kindergarten to university, 4% to the country's GDP invested in education, 100% of high school students at the age of 15 years old have already completed at least 3 years of English and 2 years of computer science. And 60% of university students work and study at the same time. Uruguay is among the world's leading economies in the investment, according to the Environmental, Social, and Governance Index, that takes into account the quality of governance, social, and environmental factors. JP Morgan takes these factors, show it to EMBI as country risk indicator, resulting in Uruguay being the most reliable of all the emerging economies in the world to invest. In addition to Uruguay is recognized of its orderly management of public debt and for its fiscal stability. The 3 major credit ratings agencies, Fitch from February 2002, Moody's from April 2002, and Standard & Poor's from May 2003, has all ratified the country's investment grade. Moreover, the United States Department of State has recognized Uruguay as a fiscally transparent country. By virtue of its investment law, Uruguay guarantees equal treatment for local and foreign investors, and I will repeat, there are no restrictions on the transfer of capital or profits from investments. Companies can operate in both domestic and foreign currency. Furthermore, there is a single national tax system. Also, as a Mercosur member, Uruguay's free trade agreement with a free trade agreement with Mexico has access to a market of 398 million people, which represents the 76% of Latin America GDP. Uruguay is well positioned and as a regional business and logistic hub due to its proximity to the wealthiest areas in South America. Also, the lifestyle of Uruguay's capital of the city of Montevideo, 1.3 million people, Punta del Este and other cities offer excellent living conditions for executives and their families, including free, well-occupied health services and education. I would like to focus to the technology and to the communications as well, because Uruguay has experienced a remarkable technological progress the country has exceptional connectivity and internet penetration. 86% of the population, as I already said, had access to broadband and with fiber optic, with median mobile internet connection speed of minimum 35 megabps and maximum 86 megabps. Uruguay is the leader of the average speed internet access in South America and ranks high in the world. Uruguay has the greatest fiber optic internet, as I already mentioned, and the significant increase of the speed of the data traffic compared with a highly favorable environment for the development of business with modern free zones. Top-class technology centers and attractive benefits make Uruguay one of the most developing countries in e-services of Latin America. Uruguay is a member of the D9 together with Canada, South Korea, Israel, New Zealand, Portugal, Mexico, and the United Kingdom, the most developed countries in the world in terms of development and in government. D9 promotes connectivity, digital citizenship, encryption for kids, open government standards, and open source government for focused on the people. In order to foster growth in the technology sector, Uruguay began by investing in its major research, integration in the digital world, and education has been in the will and will continue to be one of the foundations of achieve reliable, and sustainable technological development. One of the also important issues about the energy, due to the lack of the oil and natural gas, dependence of overseas imports of these energy sources has been steadily rising. Uruguay depends heavily on imports of crudes, oil for its basic energy supply. Offshore oil and gas exploration in Uruguay waters is being carried out. In order to enhance energy self-sufficiency, Uruguay has placed a significant emphasis on wind, solar, and biomass power, and many projects have been developed. That's why it's the second country in the Latin America in the green environmental energy. And some last words about our Greek and Uruguayan relations. First, to mention that a lot of Greek entrepreneurs have trusted and invested in Uruguay. I wish to mention and express in public my gratitude for the confidence to all of them. In modern times, the first to arrive and settle in 1930 was Konstantinos Konialidis, who had two Uruguayan-born children. His son Nicholas is operating in real estate, and the other big entrepreneur, Captain Panagiotis Tsakos, who not only invests in the largest naval industry in the country, maritime transport, forestry, cattle, agricultural, but 50 years ago founded the Maria Tsakos Cultural Foundation for the division of the Greek language and Hellenic values in Latin America. Also, Mrs. Angeliki Frangou and her Navios Corporation have been operating the largest bulk terminal in Nueva Palmira since 1956. And agricultural producers, traders, and exporters have relied on Navios' expertise and innovation. I need to mention also Athanasios Laskaridis, who has links with Latin America since 1984, and he owns the Christopherson's Group, which is the oldest maritime organization since 1892. Also in this point, I need to mention about our oldest Greek community that exists in Uruguay. Our Greek community is officially celebrate 5 years ago the 110 years of existing in Uruguay. So it's now it's 115 years old, the oldest, let's say, Greek community in Latin America, with more than 6,000 people that are living there. And with, as I already mentioned, with the collaboration of Tsakos Foundation, every year, around 500 people are receiving special education in Greek language. And with collaboration with the Greek Ministry of Education, they're receiving also a specific certificate of the Greek language. So that means that we're expanding our language also in Latin America and in Uruguay, which means also for the people like you that you're interested also to invest in Uruguay, you can also keep in mind that you have also people that are Greek speaking and English speaking if you are not Spanish speaking investors. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Casares. In fact, Uruguayan people are very friendly to Greeks, thanks also to the promotion of the Greek culture and language by Maria Tsakos Foundation. A couple of years ago, we had visited with a mission Uruguay, just to let you know that we have good contacts in that market with the local Chamber of Commerce of Uruguay in Montevideo, as well as with another business organization called Uruguay 21. And also the message was at that time that Uruguay may be not a very big market, but can be seen as a gateway to other markets in the Latin America continent. So now we move to Costa Rica, another country close to Latin America, in Central America. We will have a presentation, I guess, by Mrs. Cordero, who is the Trade Commissioner of Costa Rica based in Israel. She could not travel to Greece at this point, but also we have here her representative in Greece, Mrs. Dirania, who will introduce her.
Thank you very much for being here today with us. Ms. Cordero is already been in Greece like a few months ago for Food Expo. It was impossible for her to come here, but you will enjoy her presentation through the conference link and you will soon meet her. We may start and I will be here at the end for any questions or any further information you request. Ms. Cordero, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. I'm really apologize I couldn't manage to be there. It was a really pity for me. And I would like to start my presentation to say thank you so much for the organizer, the Greek German Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Greek Latin America Business and Council, Thessaloniki Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Federation of Industry of Greece, SBE, a Greek Exporter Association, and IPSME, and the Ambassador of Mexico and the Ambassador of Argentina, and our colleagues from Brazil, Uruguay, and Ecuador. Today, I will go through you to explain why Costa Rica is the natural choice for business and investment. But first of all, let me to show you a little bit my country.
There are decisions that can change everything forever, that require intelligence, but above all, natural intelligence. Come on, I want to show you how investors do business in Costa Rica, the heart of Latin America.
Investors wake up in the strongest and longest standing democracy on the continent, just in time to join the global team in the morning status meeting. Imagine creating top quality products and innovative services with an electric grid 99% powered by renewable sources.
This country offers reasons to develop business operations. This is why hundreds of global companies call Costa Rica home. Develop your investment project among very creative and talented people and a workforce that is mainly bilingual and highly specialized.
East or west, no need to choose. The country has ports on the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean and free trade agreement with over 50 international markets.
You will have an entire nation, their people and institutions as your strategic allies. A country you can trust, where legal security is paramount, so your investment is safe.
Costa Rica has balanced business in nature for over half a century. This is not just a business proposal. It is an invitation to be part of something bigger, more profound, an opportunity to join in the realm of natural intelligence. Invest in Costa Rica.
Like every proposition, we need to meet and we need to know who are who. So I'm representing the Foreign Trade Agency and Trading Investment Agency of Costa Rica, the national government institution. Basically what we do is to promote the trade facilitation and investment advisory. We are already leading in the world to be the first trade promotion agency by the WTO. And all our services are free of charge. What we are doing, basically, we promote business links, business delegation, Fair Trade International, as well. If there is any kind of potential of business, we take every lead and we going and to think together how we can manage, how we can make you succeed in our market, and how we can make you as importer to grow with our Costa Rican food export. Now, I want to show you quickly one of the milestones that we are done in the last years, a few of the events that we did in collaboration with the Chambers, Athens Chambers of Commerce. We did collaboration as well in the coffee sector, in the food industry as well. And we planning to do more and more with you guys in Thessaloniki. Unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't manage, but Dirania is there to represent me and to connect all of you with our office and give a little bit of Costa Rica to your mind. So when we're talking about Costa Rica, one of the main country proof that we have is that Costa Rica, like ideal nearshoring destination. As you know, Costa Rica is in the center of the Americas. We don't need to choose. You don't need to choose if you're going to the Pacific or you're going to the Atlantic. You have the both option with Costa Rica with great connectivity, and as well we have ideal time zone for the Americas in US and Europe. We are 2 hours from the US market as well. We have bilateral trade agreement and 17 free trade agreements around the world. One of the last one, like my colleagues say, we were very proud to sign with Ecuador, and in the last month with the United Emirates. We are on negotiation with Saudi Arabia, and we try to expand in more other countries. That this give us the chance and the preferred access to more than 50 countries around the world, included, of course, the US, the European Union, and China. We are OECD members and part of the WTO that can offer the stability that we need. Now, Costa Rica, if you have a project of growing, I think you need to looking for the best ally in terms of growing. Costa Rica, the country that top in the list of the OECD members, like a #1 country that leading the growth, not just in this year, as well to the next year. So this can give you idea how you can grow and where is going to be your next strategic, not just for this year, as well for the second year. Now, probably you hear a lot about Costa Rica, like a tourism country, like a country like develop and export the best pineapple in the world. but Costa Rica is much more. One of the big signs that is in mind of the and inside of the beams of every Costa Rican people are the sustainability. We are and we were now met by the United Nations like the world champion of the world in sustainability. And this is why, because we are pioneers in consensus business. Our country, by law, decided to protect 30% of our territory in order to give the chance that our country will make real impact. Even if we are a small country, we want to be pioneers. We want to be a country that makes the difference to this world. And this is why we already hosting and we protect this 6.5% of all the biodiversity that you can imagine in the world is sitting in this small country in the middle of the Americas. We as a country that decided since the 48 to have our natural renewable sources came from natural sources, most of them from hydro energy and geoenergy, and we start to develop more another alternative. 90–80% of our matrix is came from that fields. As well, about it, I can prove you that Costa Rica is leading one of the most sensitive situations, that the implementation of the new regulation that probably all of you know that will be approved the last year. And Costa Rica already made a big step this year, actually in March of 2024, to start the first deforestation-free coffee. And we are really proud that we already are totally prepared to get on this law. So this is really important, but this is not just affecting the the exporters as well. Is make like a probably all you know, a big can be in troubles to the importers. So this is something that I want that you keep in mind, that we are a country that we are ready to export products free of deforestation. Now, when we're going to think what Costa Rica offered to the world, what was this structure that give Costa Rica in the last 200 years that we have of existence? We start since the 80s, let's say, and our export offers based in agricultural products like bananas, coffee, and sugar, basically. In the end of the 98 around, Costa Rica get one of the most transforming investment that the country had been, and this was the establishment of Intel. And this move from this big company diversifies our Costa Rican export. And now, since then, we have more non-traditional goods and more add value, increasing in the last year more than 90%. Now, how is diversify our portfolio? Our portfolio, probably when you think about Costa Rica, you will think agriculture, maybe bananas, banana no, but maybe pineapple, maybe coffee, and maybe other kind of product. But let me to tell you that our main export is medical devices. And maybe you will think, why medical devices? This is show that our economy start to think and put very big effort and create more add value and more bigger economy in terms of bigger salaries and better quality of life to our population. We have as well, the second main export is the intensive knowledge that we have in the services sector, digital technologies, and then that one of the sectors the most important for us, in the case, even in the Greek market, is the agriculture, that we have pineapple, we have bananas, we have coffee, and the rest of our export offer. Now, what Costa Rica is positioning, what we offer, what we are, how we can compare to the rest. So we have the main four sectors. In this sector, let me to tell you, like I said before, medical devices is the #1 export of Costa Rica, and this allowed to us to be the #1 medical devices exporter per capita in the world. This is very important to keep in mind because we are a really small country with very, very significant milestones. And we are the second leader in Latin America with more than 7 global cardiovascular leaders in different kinds of fields. We have in the manufacture sector, we are the #1 exporter in Latin America in high-tech technologies and goods such as aeronautics, aerospace, electronics, etc. And the agribusiness, we are the #1 exporter of pineapple in the world, the #3 of bananas. We have vast of offer of products like organic, carbon neutral, deforestation-free, superfood, and etc. We now host more than 5 top companies of the top food processing. And the services sector, we are the #1 human capital with digital skill of population in Latin America. This is why we succeed to have more than 450 companies in IT technologies. And from this group of technology companies, 22% are specialized already in export technologies based and industry 4.0. And why? Why the companies use Costa Rica and decide to work with Costa Rica? Because we have technology adaptation, we have multifunctional teams and multilingual, and more than 70 different business processing. I want to give you one example. Here in Israel, when I'm working, we have, as you know, probably Israel is one of the leaders in the world in cybersecurity, but we have Costa Rican companies in the cybersecurity sector that give services to the most stronger companies here in Israel and cybersecurity. This is how I can give you idea of the quality and our engineers and our experts. So, and the medical tech that I mentioned before, this our main export sector. We have the name of all these names that you see there is the main and bigger companies in the world that decides to establish and have the world representation in the region in our country. And why? Why they decide to invest in Costa Rica, the medtech companies? Because of the talent development, because the transfer technology, because the productive linkages generation that we offer, because we create a full ecosystem in order to promote and give the platform with all our 42 offices around the world that we have in procurement to export and diversify new markets and to find new clients and new deals. And the digital technology sector, we create a hub. We are the hub for the Americas with the shared services center, with cloud computer, with data analytics, with cybersecurity operation, with BPO, with sales supports, and etc. And not just that, we still in the high-tech industry have developed very advanced ecosystem. One of these and the most promises is one that I'm going to go a little bit more deeply is with the semiconductors and as well engineering and replanning and telecommunication, electronics and aerospace. In this case, like I said before, in semiconductor, we are the country that enabling the environment for investment. And this is why Costa Rica was selected by the US according to the new law Chips and Science Act, that Costa Rica will be the partner to boost the semiconductor ecosystem. And no, it's not me who said that. The last March, we received the visit of Gina Raimondo, the United States Secretary of Commerce, and she mentioned, I will read quickly this quote. I believe that Costa Rica is the best place for larger investment. The United States has eager to strengthen our semiconductors alliances because beneficial for both nations. So this is tell you why Costa Rica is decided and already launched the first semiconductor ecosystem roadmap with different 4 ingredients, let's say, or a stage that we already are developed. And how about that? Imagine that you have a company in the field of semiconductor. It means that we are, as a country, we will create the excellency training center to develop this ecosystem. So if you have a company in the services sector that can already have and give transfer technology, transfer knowledge in that field, you can go to Costa Rica, be part of this ecosystem, and get all the benefit that the U.S. Department of State give, and the fund that is the ITCI Fund, International Technology Security, is $500 million that will be $100 million per year for the next 5 years. And you can be part of this vibrant ecosystem that is started to develop. And of course, this cannot be separate for the advanced manufacturing in general, like electronic assembly, machinery, metal casting, packaging, etc. So, after I tell you what is beautiful and great from Costa Rica, I want to make a few comparisons very quickly about us. We already have free trade agreements since 2013. We are the #1 country allied in Central America for Greece. We have diplomatic representation in Italy and the trade office here in Israel. And something, your embassy, the most close to us, is the embassy of Panama. In Panama, your Greek embassy in Panama, and from that admiration that Costa Rica has been by many, many years since the foundation, Costa Rica has, I forget to mention in the last presentation, but Costa Rica have already named 3 cities near to where I born. The name in honor of Greece. One is called Grecia, that is mean Greece. Another one, Atenas, is in Spanish, and this is in honor of Athens. And the other one is Esparza, in name of Sparta. So what's really nice, we're working directly with the consul honorary of Greece in our country, and is part of the strategic alliance that we try to make it stronger. So in the trade profile, I'm going quickly, we have a positive trade balance between Costa Rica and Greece. We export and grow in the last 4 years more than 8%. The imports from Costa Rica to the Costa Rican Greek product to Costa Rica is increased 31%. So we saw that more vibrant business people that are interested to work with us, and we are part of these numbers very proudly. So most of our products is agriculture, around the 98%, and as you see, almost 20% of our export is going to your port. The main export is pineapple, banana, green coffee, and frozen fruits. The main import is services like shipping, transportation, medicine, and preserved fruits and prepared fishes. So in the time of potential in the Greek market, we have most of the product that we export and we produce in Costa Rica that met the Greek demand. This is what we call the potential products, and this is in the food industry and the agricultural sector that are growing. The main of the product, as you see, that have potential is in the case of the food sector is fish meal, mineral water, chocolate, pasta, and concentrate fruits. And in the agriculture sector, we have bananas, coffee, and pineapple. In the term of logistic analysis, we would like to show you quickly that we arrived to you guys in 26 days approximately. Of course, now because of the different situations, etc., these numbers can change. This is some of the shipping lines that serve the 2 ports that you have, and we are really happy to work, and we work already with them. We have in our team logistic expert that can guide you in terms of finding the best solutions. Now, in terms of investment, Costa Rica is the #1 worldwide country in greenfield foreign direct investment, according to the Greenfield Direct Investment Performance Index the last year. So Costa Rica is a reliable partner to you. This company, like you see here, is more than 300 companies that decide to have all the entire global operation in Costa Rica. And this will make us very trustable country that driven the industry to attract more diverse direct investment and complex process. One of the companies that decide to establish in Costa Rica agri-tech labs, R&D centers, and etc. is company like, Dole, Del Monte that decide and Chiquita and Cargill, because they trust in our talent, in our technology, in our quality of products. So now, when we're talking about investment, we have a few ways to work. Imagine that you have a company, and then you decide to, okay, I want to hear about Costa Rica, what we offer. So the first thing that we want to tell you, we divide Costa Rica in two sectors, the internal sector, let's say in the center, and the periphery. In the internal sector, we have a specific investment, tax exemption that is under the umbrella of the free trade zone regimen. And we have what is for the periphery, where is most of the extension of Costa Rica. What do you need if you have a company? So this company need to achieve the minimum investment of $100,000 in the periphery area. If you decide to work in the center, you will have minimum investment of $150. Now, when you're thinking, how is the difference between the center and the periphery? I will let you know. From, for example, port to port, you can cross in 4 hours. So when you're talking about in the center and the periphery, you will have really a matter of 5 hours, 6 hours from the central and the international airport, for example, or in the case of the periphery, you are directly in the port area. So, and the great thing is that this investment is required in the fixed access that you will need. So if you have the company, what you're going to import in order, like, for example, you will produce clothing, for example, you will bring your machinery, or if you are in services sector, you need to bring your computer, you need to bring your desk, you need to bring everything that is related to the company is part of the investment. And this will give you a zero tax. And this year is depend of the area that you are located, can be until 8 years or up to 12 years. And this can be renewed again with a significant reinvestment that you have made in the next time when your period is gonna expire. And another additional free tax incentive is that we don't give we don't charge or we make 100% exempt from custom duties, but for local purchases, exemption of remittance repatriation tax, exemption for municipality tax up to 10 years, exemption for property transfer tax, and up to 10 years. And in the periphery of Costa Rica, you will have Social Security special rates. And of course, because we really want you there, we will make everything that is in our hands to make a quicker procedure in all of this. And one of the things that the company decide from us is because we have a specialized human talent. Costa Rica invests around 6.4% of the global GDP in education that is free and mandatory since the 1840. Almost 6% from the global GDP and healthcare that is universal, and we have around 98% of literacy rate. Our workforce is 2.2 million people. Most of them, of the big population, are in the younger age. So I would like to take a chance to invite you to Costa Rica. We have an event that is called Foreign Investment Summit that's going to take place in San Jose. And the next June 11 and 12, we will have for this event a special customized agenda. We will visit that trade-free zones, and we're gonna give you what you are looking for in terms of investment. This event, we cover all the expenses, just the ticket flight is not covered by law, we cannot pay it, but we will be more than happy to receive you in Costa Rica in the next month. Just in case, if you cannot succeed because it's really close, we would like to invite you in September 10 to 12 to visit Costa Rica in the buyer train mission. This is a special event that we have in order to connect you with our export offer. We will make you a specialized business agenda. You will visit the places and the factories and all the services that we've done. And this as well, we give all we cover all the expenses, just the ticket flight is not covered. For summarize, why Costa Rica? A strategic location, no standing armies in the 48, all this democracy in Latin America, legal security and labor rights, education, free and mandatory, competitive incentive, knowledge transfer capabilities. We are a young, creative, innovative driven labor force. So for my part of this, thank you so much. And it's the pleasure to be with you. And I hope to meet you soon. Thank you.
Να μοιραστώ λίγο την εμπειρία μου με την κυρία Κορντέρο. In English, you want? I would like to share my experience with Ms. Cordero. I'm with her for the last 2 years, and I'm really proud because we created a history between these two countries, Greece and Costa Rica. After 200 years, an ambassador from Costa Rica started creating new business relationships with Greece. This is something new. And what I can tell from my experience is that in the coffee sector, we had huge successes last year. The two Greek main importance of coffee, they have done businesses with Costa Rica. They increased their orders, and what I can really guarantee is that Ms. Cordero is your eyes in Costa Rica. Every time that you do business with her, you have the guarantee, and she's there. She's responsible for a nice and real good relationship with the flow and no issues. So it's not something that happened by luck. She created a really strong presence the last 2 years. You saw at the beginning of the presentation, we offered a breakfast meeting for the members of the Athens Chamber of Commerce 2 years ago. These gave us the opportunity to meet in person with the business people, to create strong relationship with them, to gain their trust. The two invitations that Ms. Cordero mentioned at the end, the one for the investment during June and the one for September during the foods and imports, please take this opportunity. And if you have both interest in investors or in food, go there. They cover all expenses. They have organized meetings. You will see directly the businesses and the people, the key persons that you want to do business with them. It's definitely a must and an added value for Costa Rica to cover all the expenses and to actually invite all Greek business people in Costa Rica. Thank you so much for today. It was a pleasure and an honor being around Ms. Patsiavos, Mr. Moreno, Ms. Girardi. Thank you all for being here. We can have a small discussion later on, and you can definitely contact us in any case. Ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ σήμερα.
I'd like to thank Ms. Cordero and Ms. Durania for creating awareness on Costa Rica and opportunities to do business there. Hopefully sometime in the future, in one of our next missions, we can also visit the country. Now, the next presentation will touch upon the intellectual property protection in Latin America, and we have with us Ms. Giovanna Paula Girardi, an IP expert and training manager of the Latin America IP SME Hub of the European Commission.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to try to keep it short as I can, and as entertaining as I can. At the beginning of our session today, Mr. Yanis brought the company that presented their case to us in Athens. Is a very interesting, very interesting experience they have, because they've managed to enter many countries in Latin America. But what is stuck with me of their experience is, one, each country in Latin America has their own legal framework with incredibly big differences. Though it's close, though they have the Mercosur community and Andean community and the Pacific Alliance, there is not a harmonized system like we are used to in the European Union, and thus it makes it a challenge. The second message they passed on to us in Athens was, don't do it alone. Don't learn the intricacies of the countries you want to enter by yourselves. Use the wonderful help the trade commissions from different countries have, the embassies, the Chamber of Commerce. Take part in the mission to get to know the country and the people. Now, in what my subject regards, the Latin American IPSME Help Desk is an initiative from the European Commission to raise awareness about the use of intellectual property as a business tool for European small and medium-sized companies. Our services are free of charge, and as long as it's possible, free of legal jargon and business-oriented. We have a first line of assistance that is called the helpline, in which you can send your queries, and we commit to reply within 3 working days in your preferred language with the utmost confidentiality. We also have trainings like the one today, free of charge, business-oriented, and free of legal jargon where possible, of course. We also have a lot of online resources. We have resources in each of the 19 countries in Latin America, from Argentina to Panama, Guatemala, Costa Rica. We have IP guides on each country. We also have intellectual property guides in sectors, technology, food, fashion, you name it. If you enter a web page, you'll be able to search what you need and find it, of course. We are there. The help desk is a project. It's not a standalone project. We have 6 different projects with the same scope, separated by the geographic location. We have the Latin American IP Help Desk that serves the 19 countries that belong to Latin America. We have the European Help Desk that serves the European Union needs, the African Help Desk that serves the whole continent of Africa, India, China, and Southeast Asia. We all aim to create awareness of the importance of intellectual property rights for your businesses. In the agenda today is a quick overview of the landscape in Latin America, We talk about a little bit of trademarks, patents, designs, and a few challenges and some solutions for the challenges you may face. And of course, at the end, I'll be here to answer all your queries. As I started with, Latin America is a very diverse region in terms of nature and in terms of legal framework. Their intellectual property systems are not harmonized. There is an asymmetric ratification of the international treaties that are relevant to intellectual property. There's a need for local representation. There may be a language issue there with the Spanish and Portuguese, and they all have different costs. Now, Mr. Alejandro Garcia Moreno talked about how to compete in the market with efficiency. And here I will go. What can we do to bring efficiency and sophistication to trade? Traditionally, bananas and fruits and vegetables have been traded as a commodity. That is not the case anymore. As you see, our bananas now come with a sticker. And that helps us as consumers to know there is someone we can reach out if there's a problem. And that is not only, I'm bringing this example of bananas because it's incredibly evident what is happening in the market. The market, us as consumers, we are requiring more information from the producers. We're requiring more information from where our products are coming from, not only fruit and vegetable, all kinds of products. We want to know. We want to be able to trust the producer, to be able to trust who's offering the product we want to buy. So trade in essence is what we see in the markets. What was once a commodity, changing something for good. Trade simply, essentially, is black and white. Intellectual property is color. And intellectual property is omnipresent in every successful business, in all sectors. I started with the most basic type of trade, the trade of food, raw, brought by nature type of food, but we can also be talking about services, digital financial services. All that you see there are the intellectual property of these financial companies and how important they are to bring colorful to the trade of financial services. Hence, intellectual property rights are not an option for a business looking for success in an international market. Now, to reach that success, you have to consider three main stages. Intellectual property or protection, as you probably heard of. The protection of intellectual property assets has three stages: registration, use, and enforcement. Registration is where everything starts, where the right is born. Use is where you're going to find your relationships, your partnerships, your consumer, where you're going to find money. And enforcement is where you're going to take care of the future of your business. The future of your business, the future interest of your business cannot be taken care if registration has not happened. So that is the most important step in your protection process. Intellectual property rights are territorial, exclusive rights to help monetize certain aspects of an offering. I will divide that, or divide and conquer with that sentence. Territorial would mean that you need to acquire those rights in each individual territory. In each individual country, you have a commercial interest. Exclusive rights means it gives you the right to manufacture, sell, license, import, export. And that's when you have that exclusive right, is there when you can defend your rights, your business interests from a competitor, from an infringer, from a counterfeit. That's also when you can use these exclusive rights to close your commercial partnerships with local partners. Now, certain aspects of your offering. What aspects of your offering can be? What should you register? No, so we have to go separate things. The aspects you have to consider, in essence, the one that every single consumer will look for in an internet search, will look for in their social media, will look for in their friends and family, is the brand elements, especially the name of your product or service. Gaining exclusive rights to the brand identity elements is essential to any business. And those brand and identity elements, be it the name, the logo, the color, the combination of those elements, is what we call a trademark. The external aspect of a product or the packaging is what we call a design. Also, it's possible to gain exclusive rights to those aspects. If what you want is a patent, we will be looking for exclusive rights to a novel technical solution to problems with the industrial applicability. If we're talking about copyrights, we're talking about exclusive rights to the creative works, computer programs, database, technical drawings, etc. So gaining exclusive rights to registration is essential for the continuation and the success of the business. Now, the right, I told you, the right is born. Those rights are acquired through registration. So you need to think of what to register, where to register, when to register, and how to register. Now, what? I already told you what a trademark is, what a design is, what a patent is, what a copyright is. Now, how do you find that for your business? There's no other way than systematically reviewing all aspects of your business. What are you selling? What is offered in your webpage? What is offered in different channels? What are you producing? What are you working on? You have to keep reviewing to uncover what is providing that competitive edge Mr. Alejandro was talking about at the beginning of our session. What is contributing to your revenue generation? Where and how? How is simple. How is very simple. Is a formal request either to the National Intellectual Property Office of the country you have interest, or where possible, where that country has ratified one of the relevant intellectual property treaties, you'll be able to use the word intellectual property organization. And in that case, the formal request goes to your national office in your home country that will bring that request to the international organization. And that the word organization will forward that request to the national office of the country where you are willing to land. So in terms of patents, the countries that have ratified the Patent Cooperation Treaty you see in the screen Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Guatemala, Nicaragua, and Peru. If we're thinking about trademarks, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, and Cuba, and Mexico. And we're talking about designs, only Brazil and Mexico ratified the treaty. Therefore, in every other country, you have no choice. You would have to go directly to their national office to have your rights registered. Now, eyes wide open, because most of these rights in most of these countries work on a first come, first served basis. That is, once someone tried to register, once someone's tried to register the right has an owner and is not yet anymore available to you. So it's really important to understand your need early and register early and often. Challenges you see when you're lending in terms of registration. Bad faith registrations is what we see. Possibly not on an everyday basis, but on a weekly basis. This is the most important and the most used and the most the biggest problem most companies we have dealt with face in Latin America. And this is your weakness, because I told you, registration works on a first come, first served basis. You cannot blame your weakness on the country or the system. So how do you solve this? How do you solve this challenge? You strengthen your position through not only knowledge, but also the registration itself. You realize the opportunity is coming, you're gonna land in the country. Don't waste your time. Don't wait for your partner to take over, your local partner I'm talking about. Intellectual property is a matter you have to take on with your hands. Now, if I arrived late to this advice, or if you didn't take my advice, what you're going to do if you're faced with bad faith registration? We start small with negotiating with the other party to see if there's any possibility to hand over the right to the rightful owner. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. And then you have to analyze what is possible. Sometimes it's still possible an administrative action before the national office of the relevant country. Sometimes it's not possible. And sometimes the only possibility is a judicial action, which is the same as legal proceedings before the national courts of the relevant country. Now, of course, this brings a lot of headaches and it's time consuming and it's not time efficient because an administrative decision and a judicial decision will take time. It does not depend on the will of the parties. It does not depend on your will or the other party. It depends on the system, and it takes time. Hence, I go back to my advice, register early. The second challenge companies face in terms of registration is cultural and linguistic barriers. Differences in cultural values that affect the perception of the products and services, or cultural associations with certain colors you have used, symbols or names that influence how the consumer sees the brand. not having the intended semantic meaning when perhaps you have translated your name, or including a bad translation. So localization going hand in hand with someone that knows the market is not a joke. And here I brought to you an example of a company you all probably know that has opted for an interesting strategy. As you see, the name in each different jurisdiction is different. They have not tried to translate or bring the same semantic content to any of the countries they have landed. They simply kept the name, the local name of the company they have purchased, and introduced a strong emphasis on the heart logo, so that the consumers, wherever he goes, despite the name used in that country, we still know where the product he's buying is coming from. The third challenge is the need of local representation. Again, we go back to sometimes the local representation, if we choose the international registration system, is not a necessity, it's not mandatory, but it's a possibility. And of course, as we've been emphasizing on the topic, having an expert with you that knows what you're going to experience and how to avoid having bad experience is always helpful. Now, we also have to talk about challenges in use. The biggest challenge relative to use is the maintenance of your rights. Once you register your rights, they don't have a life of their own. You have to give them life. And you give them life by fulfilling obligations of use that the national system may impose on them, and paying the maintenance fees, which may be renewals or annuities. If we're considering trademarks and designs, we're talking about renewals. Trademarks renewals every 10 years. Designs, it depends on the country, maybe every 5 years, up to 25 years, or up to 15 years. There is where you need to know where you're going, so you know the details of where you're going. If we're considering patents, we're talking about annuities. You have annual payments that will need to be made to maintain the right alive. How do you solve this challenge? Consistency and organization. The obligation of use require that you use the right as it was registered in the products or services, in the packaging, in the promotional materials, in the invoice. And here we have to review how we're doing our invoices, because most companies I work with are not using their rights properly in their invoices. So that is a good consultation you can do to the helpline. Use it in your social media, marketing materials, etc. Use it as it was registered for the products it was registered. In addition to using the right, maintain a detailed record of the registrations, of the agreements, of the enforcement actions, and of the use you have been giving to the right. Keep it organized and easily accessible. Now, this is the biggest challenge of them all. Revenue generation. The use of intellectual property rights to bring revenue generation. So intellectual property rights are used to build confidence in the market, confidence in the consumer, confidence in the partner. And they should be present and they are relevant to all the contracts you sign within your organization, from non-disclosure agreements to collaborations, to license, to distribution, to franchise. And here I invite you to think of contracts not as an instrument to protect yourself, but to build a relationship. If you think of a contract as an instrument to protect yourself, you'll be creating a distance from your organization and the other side. If you use your contract to assist your partner, you bring it close to you, and with that, you making it easy to reach your commercial goals and bringing revenue. So the solution, everyone is looking for an opportunity. Everyone is looking to be taken care of. All the countries we have seen this today, they are all wonderful places to invest. They are all looking for us to invest there. But when we arrive there, we're going to have to take care of that market, to take care of the partners we reach. Give more than is expected. Work on mechanisms to support your partner to help you achieve your goals. The more you support your partner, the more your goals are going to materialize. Work on building partners and consumers' confidence in your offering with register rights that they can trust the origin. Work on the intellectual property details. Innovation's economic return, how they're going to be shared, who is responsible. Now, one thing that you can possibly put a responsibility on a partner is the annuities. Who is responsible for the annuities? Is you? Is your partner? What about if an infringement is detected in the territory? Who is responsible to take action? Is you or is your local partner? Can you share that responsibility? Now you see where the impact of considering intellectual property lies in the contracts. Now, have the management of the life cycle of the contracts present. The contracts are live documents, live relationships that have a life cycle and that it needs caring, it needs attention. We continue and insist on maintaining a detailed record of it all and keeping it easily accessible. Challenge regarding enforcement. Enforcing and defending your interests. The first challenge here is detecting the infringement, detecting the problem. The second challenge is acting in a budget-friendly way in a foreign territory. The solution to detecting the problem is easy or easier. The solutions to detecting the problem is monitor the market. How do you monitor the market? So you have identified your intellectual property rights, the assets that are relevant to your company and to the success of your company in the territory. And you have two places to monitor generally. Online, marketplaces, internet engines, social media, and offline in the real market and offline market. In the online market, we also have the IP registries, the national office. What is happening there? What are people trying to register? Domain names watch, online markets watch for your brand name, keywords you use, hashtags. How is that being used on social media, marketplace, search engines? It's not just searching by your trade name, but also things that are intrinsically connected with the trade of your offering. And the offline market is a little bit of a detective work. However, my experience says infringement in the offline market very often happens with someone that tried to be a partner and then decided to go by themselves. So keep an eye for the partners that have suddenly disappeared off the radar. Register intellectual property rights with customs where possible, because not every country is possible. Some countries, some things are possible and other things are not possible. So in some countries, you'll be able to register your trademarks with customs, but you won't be able to register your designs. Other countries, you'll be able to register both and even patents. But then you have an additional problem. After you register, customs officials are not particularly knowledgeable in detecting counterfeit. So you also need to think about how you're going to provide officials with enough information and training so that they can help you. Solution number 3. If any of the measures, the previous measures was possible, infringement was detected, counterfeit was detected, what do you have to do? Where do you go to solve your issues? If we're talking about a rights registration, the national office with an opposition or a cancellation or invalidity action. If we detected the infringement in social media or in a marketplace, a formal complaint with the relevant platform. If we detect a domain name problem, UDPR, with the top level domains policies. If we detect a Google ad problem, trademark, counterfeit, copyrights, complain to Mr. Google. If it's an infringement on the offline, a cease and desist letter to the infringer. That was not possible. Then the only solution available probably is courts, legal action, criminal and civil. Most countries in Latin America give you the option of a criminal or a civil action. And last but not least, let's try not to infringe other people's rights. Let's try to not use what does not belong to your organization without a clear authorization to avoid claims, to avoid actions, to avoid headaches and costs, obviously. The solution here is fundamentally education and awareness of everyone in your organization. Everyone needs to know what is proprietary intellectual property asset and what we cannot use not to have a headache. And fundamentally, if you need to use something that belongs to a third party, before doing so, try to seek authorization for that use. And with that, I finish the challenges. And very quickly, I'm gonna present a case study, a real case study of a Swedish company that reached out to the Latin American intellectual property help desk with a problem. Was not per se a problem yet. They were negotiating with a local partner in Brazil to enter the Brazilian market with a trade secret method to treat leather. They had given a little bit of information to the local partner, and that had raised some concerns. Their product had a name, their method had a name, the product had a design. So we recommended first to sign a non-disclosure agreement for the trade secrets they were sharing. We also recommend the signing of a distribution agreement and a manufacturing agreement where they kept certain quality control and confidentiality of the elements that were relevant for their businesses, which they readily did so. We also recommended the registration of the method name and the product design, which they also readily done so. And with this example I am bringing to you, I want to see that out of the 3 stages of intellectual property protection, with one single query, that company brought up 2 important stages: registration and use. And this is what you're going to see when you land. And hopefully you don't see the 3rd stage, which is a lot of more of a nightmare, but you may see. And thus, the Intellectual Property SME Help Desk is here to help at any stage you are landing in Latin America. What if you don't? I don't want to be pessimistic, but if you don't register your rights, then I see the apocalypse without being pessimistic. You won't be able to defend your business interests and your business will be doomed. So know your intellectual property, conduct your searches, register them, enforce and use them. If you need additional material, you find in our webpage. If you have a doubt, send us a helpline, a question. It's free, fast, and confidential. And if you want specialized consultation, you can book a meeting with our experts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Girardi, for this detailed presentation and for alerting companies on being cautious and protect their rights when doing business in Latin America. We have concluded the presentations. I guess I should better suggest that we finish at this point the workshop and we step out to the foyer for some refreshments. And if you want to approach any of our guest speakers and have any question, you can do it in a kind of a networking time right outside. So thanks again to our speakers, His Excellency the Ambassador, Mr. Coelho, Mr. Kazantzis, Mrs. Girardi, Mrs. Cordero, Mrs. Tirania. And if you're interested to join in a mission to Latin America, you will receive the announcement of the mission, and please let us know. Thank you.